Hey, welcome back. It's Laura at Hyperstamper. Really excited to show you today's Antique Junk Journal, which is a 125-year-old book published at the turn of the century, last century. And the publishing company Wardlock and Co. Limited, they made the most beautiful covers. So this one is actually Scott's book of poetry. I covered up the word Scott here. It is still on the side here, but I took Dr. Hudson's Secret Journal front page and cut out the secret journal, and that is from an 80-year-old book, and I attached it here. So you still have the gold around it. You still have the original colors and the gold emboss on the side. We even have the original little library sticker here that I left on because it was so endearing. Original back, original spine, everything. So before I put it in my Etsy shop, just a little reminder, there's no tariffs on any of my journals, and shipping is very quick because I'm using a courier rather than postal services around the world. So let's take a little dive into here and show you every single page is authentic, antique, and vintage ephemera. I don't use any commercial products. This is I'm just displaying this with the book. It doesn't come with it, but it's pretty cool, right? It's an antique quill pen and a little antique ink well jar. And this is an actual porcupine quill. So your lesson for the day is the reason these are called quill pens is it originally writing was done with a porcupine quill, hence the quill pen. There, you learned something new today that you will probably never need again, but there you go. Let's call my videos educational. Here's the original first page of the book. And this is a pressed flower Queen Anne's lace that I've added, that I pressed. Here is a beautiful vintage pattern. Look at how groovy these women are here from the 60s. And then this is a 1940s children's book page. And this is a lot going on here. So I made the pocket. It's a quad pocket out of a 1940s Paris, France Almanac page. And look at this beautiful woman here. Look at that spectacular hat. She's holding a glove in one hand. And what's one of my favorite things are the backs of these photographs. This one here is obviously from England, from Paynton. And I love it. It's wonderful. It's historic. And it is from 1880. This is a 75-year-old bird postcard. It was never used, but it is very pretty. The little song sparrow. One of my favorite songs of birds. And this here is from 1895, and I just love it. And this is from the Youth's Companion sponge, the ideal interlining crepon. Pretty cool, gorgeous. You can journal on the back of that because I added some antique paper, and a 1950s authentic bingo card. No, it's not a photocopy, it's the real thing, and you can journal on the back of that or upcycle that. There's lots of fun things you can do with bingo cards. You can even make it the cover of a little journal. Here is a Melmar coupon from the 50s from Paige, and a vintage 1960s probe card. When you buy my journals, you can request I swap things out. Like if you would have one different initial, I can do that. Happy to do things, add dates or things that are special to you. So this here is a vintage hanky. It's about 60 years old. It was never purchased, so it is in brand new condition, and I just love it. That's all mounted on a pocket I made out of a bunch of antique ephemera, a little fussy cut here. It's not a sticker. And then this is a 1940s Theater World magazine. This is an 1800s photo of this dog protecting a bunny here. I believe the plate was called the Protector or the Defender. And this is from a vintage Trees of America book. And as you can see, I use a lot of these, so that is the cover of it. So yes, it truly is vintage, even though sometimes the plates look like they're not. This is a vintage song sheet. I love the blue ink in it. I really do. And this is another 1950s magazine page with some crafts that you can make on here and some really great advertisements. Another 1940s page here. And then I did some hand stamping. This is from the, also from 1900, from the Ant and Fairy book that I just made a journal of. It's still in my Etsy shop actually. And this is a 1950s postcard from Iowa. Look how beautiful that is. And I love that there's a little coffee cup stain here, and I left it on. I think that's really cool. People buy stamps and things to copy that, but there's a real coffee stain. And there's a nice little message on the back. And then this here is a piece of a scrapbook. It's that honeymoon page, scrapbook, sorry, that I've been telling you about from the East Coast. A couple took their honeymoon all down the East Coast, and I think it's fabulous. Now back here is an envelope from 1960, so that is 65 years old. And then in here, this didn't come with it, it just happens to fit in there as a handwritten research page from the early 1900s. And then this is something that you can also upcycle and have lots of fun with. And here is a gorgeous, and now it is in bad condition, but I love that about it because you can see the glossiness. Probably would have done better without the glossy cover on it. But look at this wonderful writing on here. It's just fabulous. And this is from 1911, January 12th, my sister's birthday. And then this here is a vintage snap card. This is a vintage library plate, or book plate, we call them. And that is probably from about the 60s, never used as well. I was able to get a box full of them. Wonderful little 1940s page here. And this is a vintage travel book, traveling in America book. And we've got texts here in New Orleans here. It's just kind of a fun little piece to have. And this is a great page from a doily book, How to Make Doilies. Look at that gorgeous flower bouquet there. The pansies and the daisies up here. Just beautiful. There's a Mammals of America book here. We've got the bears. And that came from a 1960s vintage book. And then I made this. Look at that sweet, that came off of a Disney book from the 60s. And just a bunch of my antique paper and vintage paper cutoffs for you to do more journaling on. Little booklet there. That is from a vintage spice card collection. And then this is from 1895. This is Demarest's Family Magazine. I'm not going to unfold it just because it's brittle. I want it to last forever. And it's just got some exquisite historical artwork on there. 1937 piece here. Again, 1900 there. That's The Fairy Makes a Cloud. And then we've got this sweet little image down here from the 40s. And then this vintage playing card, these sweet little Persian white kittens, and you can journal on the back of that Monopoly money there from a vintage game. This is a hand-typed piece here that was probably done with carbon paper behind it. Do you remember carbon paper? If you don't, wow, you're really young. Or maybe not, maybe I'm just really old. Anyways, this is just a great little piece. I loved the color paper. And this here is from also from the early 1900s, pre-1910. I want to say this is from 1909, actually. And it was how to practice cursive writing. So it was from an exercise book on cursive writing, lesson 13. And somebody did some math up here. You can see over the last 110 years. That's from 1904, English garden book. And then this, of course, is from 1943, front page of the Skippy and Others book, which is wonderful. This is from a vintage nature book, more bears. And this is a vintage plate here. And I want to say that is from The Bunny with Red Wings, maybe. And then I've added this little antique paper waterfall journaling spot. And then, oh yes, this here is this lovely little 1940s, I believe. Let me just check. Yep, 1940s McCall's Christmas magazine book. And then this one here is dolls, dressing up dolls, I guess to make as gifts. And then in here we have this silly page here from a children's book with this clown, and it's for you. Now you could turn that into a hilarious card for somebody. A for you card, right? And then I love this little pocket here. It says, make room for joy, out of an antique book. This is, again, the English garden book. Absolutely stunning. And this here is a beautiful, the First State Bank of Tiskilwa. That's pretty cool. And that is to the Julia Rackley Perry Memorial Hospital, $95. That must have been a big operation. way back in 1927. So that's a beautiful piece. Thank you, Paige, for that. And there is a little pretty pocket from the early 1900s. Another children's book page here. And I made this journaling tag here out of a Trixie Belden book, The Mysterious Code. Early 1900s page down here. And this is a plate from a history book. And I just cut it down so it would fit in this pocket, but you can journal on the top and back of that one. And here's an 1850s Hogarth etching. This one is really stunning. Look how beautiful this woman is with her goblet here. And more children's book pages. I made this wonderful cluster here, all authentic. And here's just something I want to point out. This is from a book from the 1800s, and I love these metal staples on cloth here. Just be careful with them if you're the new owner, but I love it. I love how they use like a bajillion staples. It took me forever to get those signatures out. And then this is a giant piece here. It's just really fun. You can make them into little clusters or just enjoy this the way it is from a children's magazine here. And pop that back in there. This page here is from the 1850s as well. Another English garden, and that brings us to the end. So I hope you love this as much as me. Hyperstamper.etsy.com. Come back soon.